All right, let's jump into this deep dive. We're looking at Dawn Sweet Honey today,
Ooh.
a Manitoba honey operation. And, you know, I always love checking out local producers, and this one
Yeah.
definitely piqued my interest. So we've got their website up, going through their products, descriptions, learning a bit about their background.
Hmm.
So whether you're already thinking about grabbing a jar or two of honey yourself,
Sure.
or maybe like me, you're just fascinated by bees and the whole world of honey, then stick with us. We're going to dive right in.
I think it's great that you're exploring these local options. There's a real trend these days towards supporting local producers, and
Right.
honey is no exception to that. So let's see what Dawn Sweet Honey is all about.
Well, one thing that jumps out from their website is that they really emphasize this
Right.
pure, all-natural, 100% Manitoba honey. They even mention that their apiaries are
Yeah.
located in and around Poplar Field. Does that
Yeah.
name ring a bell for you?
It does. It does. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
Location is actually super important when it comes to honey because different regions, they have different wildflowers, right? And the nectar that the bees collect from those wildflowers dictates
That makes sense.
the flavor profile of the honey. So Poplar Field, that suggests the very specific floral profile for their honey. It'd be interesting to kind of learn what kind of wildflowers thrive in that area and how they contribute to the taste.
It really would. They do mention diverse wildflower meadows on their website, but they don't actually specify which flowers.
Right.
I'm kind of picturing like these fields just bursting with color, buzzing with bees. Okay, maybe I'm getting a little carried away with the imagery there.
No, it's a beautiful thought.
But I'm definitely intrigued. Another thing they emphasize is that their honey is raw.
Yes.
They say it's minimally filtered and never pasteurized. So I'm guessing that must help preserve some of its natural qualities.
You're exactly right. Raw honey, it's prized for retaining more of its natural goodness because, see, heat processing, like pasteurization, that can actually destroy some of the beneficial enzymes and antioxidants that are naturally present in honey.
Oh, interesting.
So by keeping their honey raw, Dawn Sweet Honey is essentially delivering it to you in its purest form.
So it's kind of like the difference between, freshly squeezed orange juice
Yes.
versus that processed stuff you get in a carton. Like,
Yeah.
You're just getting the full spectrum of flavor and nutrients with that raw honey. Okay, here's where I need your help. They offer something called soft set honey, also called creamed honey.
Okay.
Is this just whipped honey or is it something more to it?
It's a little more complex than just whipping. It actually involves controlling the crystallization process. All honey, will crystallize over time, but with creamed honey, they kind of induce that crystallization in a very controlled manner.
Wait. Controlled crystallization. Break that down for me. I'm picturing like scientists in a lab, carefully manipulating honey molecules.
Well, it's not quite that high tech.
Yeah.
But it does involve precise temperature control
Okay.
and the introduction of these things called seed crystals, which basically guide the crystallization process. And that results in
Wow.
a smooth, spreadable texture, almost like butter.
So no more sticky honey drips all over the counter. That's a win in my book. All right, on to the practicalities. They offer both liquid and creamed honey in a bunch of different sizes, from those little 500-gram jars up to like a 5-kilogram option.
Wow.
The prices seem pretty reasonable, too. Their website really emphasizes this direct-to-consumer approach, though. What does that even mean in the honey world?
It means they're cutting out the middleman, essentially. So instead of selling their honey through big grocery stores or retailers,
Yeah,
they're focusing on building relationships directly with their customers.
gotcha.
And this allows them to really control that whole process from, hive to jar.
Yeah.
And that way they can ensure the quality of their product.
So they're going for more of a personalized experience, kind of like a small batch coffee roaster or
Sure.
a craft brewery.
You got it.
And speaking of personalized, they mention that their Winnipeg pickup location is by appointment only.
Yes.
Now, is that common for honey producers? I've never...
It's not the norm, no.
Yeah.
But it's becoming more popular among, small-scale food producers because it allows them to offer that more tailored experience.
Yeah.
And they can connect one-on-one with their customers.
It's almost like they're saying, hey, we're not just some faceless company. Come meet the people behind the honey.
Exactly.
I kind of like that. I'm also curious about their use of Square for payment processing. Does that tell us anything about their operation?
It definitely hints at their scale and their operational style.
Okay.
Square is a really popular platform for small businesses. And it suggests that they're prioritizing efficiency and ease of use for their customers.
Yeah, and it also reinforces that small batch feel they seem to be going for, like a family business.
Yeah.
It's just passionate about their craft.
I agree. It really does.
And you get that vibe from their website, too, especially with their tagline, "From our family to yours."
It creates a sense of warmth, and authenticity.
Yeah.
That's often missing from larger, more commercialized brands.
For sure.
It makes you feel like you're supporting real people with a genuine love for what they do.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. The importance of where the honey comes from, the benefits of raw honey, that whole mystery of creamed honey,
Right.
and Dawn Sweet Honey's kind of unique approach to connecting with their customers.
Absolutely.
But our listeners out there are probably eager to hear more about the honey itself.
Yeah, let's delve a little deeper into those potential health benefits of raw honey and see how Dawn Sweet Honey's commitment to quality translates into a superior product.
Sounds delicious. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. We're continuing our exploration of Dawn Sweet Honey, and I'm really curious to dig into those potential health benefits of raw honey you mentioned earlier. I've heard people talk about raw honey being a superfood, and I'm always a little skeptical of those claims. What's the real story?
Yeah, it's definitely important to approach these things with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yeah.
But there is some evidence suggesting that raw honey does offer certain health benefits.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about minimal processing? That's key here.
Right, because that heat and filtering can strip away some of honey's natural goodness.
Exactly. Raw honey retains all of those elements, including pollen, enzymes, antioxidants. These components are believed to have various potential benefits, from boosting your immune system to aiding digestion.
Wow.
Some people even use it topically for wound healing.
So it's not just about the sweet taste. It's almost like a natural remedy.
Yeah, think of it as nature's sweetener with a potential bonus.
I like that.
But it is really important to emphasize that these are potential benefits.
Right.
More research is needed to fully understand, the extent of their impact.
Okay.
Raw honey is not a magic cure-all.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't replace medical treatment, of course.
Of course, yeah. I appreciate that clarification. Always important to make those distinctions. So, if I'm following you correctly, choosing raw honey is kind of like choosing whole grain bread over white bread.
That's a great analogy.
You're just getting more of the good stuff that nature intended.
Exactly. It's about opting for that less processed, more natural version.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Dawn Sweet Honey, their commitment to raw honey really aligns with their overall focus on quality and purity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of quality, let's circle back to that creamed honey.
Yes.
Besides the smooth, spreadable texture, are there any other advantages to going with creamed honey over the liquid kind?
Creamed honey's texture is really its main selling point.
Yep.
It's less messy, easier to spread, and some people just find it more palatable, especially those who maybe aren't as fond of honeys. Sometimes intense sweetness.
So it really just comes down to preference then.
Exactly. Both liquid and creamed honey offer those same core benefits of raw honey.
Okay.
It really boils down to how you plan to use it and your personal texture preference. Do you want that classic drizzle or a spreadable treat?
I see. Now, you mentioned earlier that the Poplarfield region likely influences the flavor profile of Dawn Sweet Honey. What kind of flavor notes might we expect from a Manitoba wildflower honey?
It's tough to pinpoint the exact flavors without knowing the specific wildflowers involved.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, wildflower honey tends to be more complex, more nuanced.
Interesting.
Compared to single-source honey varietals.
Right.
You might encounter floral hints, subtle fruity undertones.
Oh, wow.
Or even a touch of earthiness.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's a delightful adventure for your taste buds.
That it really, I can almost picture those wildflowers blooming and their nectar transforming into this golden liquid. Now I'm really curious to try it.
That's the beauty of honey.
Yeah.
Each jar is a unique reflection of its environment and the bees' hard work.
That's a good point.
And in the case of Dawn Sweet Honey, it's a taste of Manitoba's natural bounty.
And on the topic of supporting local, are there Are there any specific advantages to choosing a honey producer like Dawn Sweet Honey over, say, a big commercial brand that you just find in any supermarket?
That's a great question. Beyond the obvious benefits of, supporting local businesses,
Right?
reducing your environmental footprint by choosing locally sourced products,
Yeah.
there's also this aspect of transparency and connection.
Mm-hmm.
When you buy from a small-scale operation like Dawn Sweet Honey, you're more likely to have that direct line to the producer. You can ask questions, learn about their practices,
Yeah.
feel confident about the quality of the honey.
It's kind of like knowing the farmer who grows your vegetables
Exactly.
or the baker who makes your bread. It just adds that personal touch that's often lost in mass production.
Exactly. It's about knowing the story behind your food,
Yeah.
feeling good about where it comes from.
And I really get the sense that Dawn Sweet Honey is all about storytelling.
Yeah.
From their website design to their social media, they're really putting a face on their brand and inviting us into their world.
It's a smart strategy.
Yeah.
In today's market, consumers are increasingly interested in authenticity and transparency.
Oh, for sure.
They want to know who they're buying from and what values those businesses represent.
Yeah.
And Dawn Sweet Honey is definitely tapping into that desire by sharing their passion and connecting with their customers on a personal level.
Okay, so we've explored the potential health benefits of raw honey, the versatility of creamed honey, the importance of supporting our local producers.
Yeah.
But there's one practical aspect we haven't really talked about yet. How do people actually buy this honey?
Right.
Their website emphasizes direct contact, but does that mean no online ordering or shipping options?
That's a good question, and one that a lot of potential customers probably have.
Yeah.
Let's dive into those details about Dawn Sweet Honey's unique ordering and pickup process after a quick break. Stay tuned.